Hey guys, good evening to you guys. It's great to see you. Just thought I would come and chat with you about some topics that I've been seeing a lot in my comments. You guys know that I read the comments. I want to know what you think. I want to know what's on your mind. And there have been some comments that have continued to resurface over weeks. And I'm like, I got to handle that. You guys probably have seen them too. They are comments that are to the effect of people saying that it's actually the vaccinated people, those with COVID vaccines, that are actually dying more than those that are unvaccinated. You might have seen comments such as the vaccine doesn't stop you from spreading COVID, or that more people that vaccinated people are spreading COVID more than unvaccinated people. Vaccinated people are getting COVID more than unvaccinated people. Vaccinated people are dying more from COVID than unvaccinated people, something to that effect. Okay. You guys might have seen this in the comments. If you look at any COVID video of mine on YouTube or Facebook, you can see these types of comments. They've been going on for a while, and I wanted to address these comments. I think it's really, really important. We're going to sort of detail what is the real deal, what's the truth, and what is not. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen Caudle. I'm a practicing family physician and on-air health expert and video creator. I'm so glad that you're here with me. By the way, for those of you who've not liked and followed my page, I invite you to do so. I do daily videos on COVID and all sorts of other stuff. For those of you on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the little bell for updates. All right. So let's just jump right in with this, okay? Now, this concept that those people who are vaccinated, those of us who are unvaccinated, can spread COVID just as easily as the unvaccinated. And what people are doing in the comments of my videos, and it's floating around like on memes and stuff on social media too. What people are doing is they're using these phrases as reasons as to either why they're not getting the vaccine, why they're trying to prove that the vaccine is not useful or important by these statements. See, the vaccine doesn't really matter because, hey, vaccinated people can still get COVID, die from COVID, transmit COVID as easily as someone else, right? So it's being used a little bit as like an excuse or as a reason to say, hey, being vaccinated doesn't matter. Being vaccinated it doesn't do anything, because when you're vaccinated, nothing changes. You're no better. And then some people are going to the extent of saying things like vaccinated people are actually dying more than unvaccinated. So let's start with that one. Okay. I think that's an important place to start. First of all, vaccinated people are not dying more than unvaccinated people. In fact, we know that those who are unvaccinated are 11.3 times more likely to die from COVID than those people who are fully vaccinated. It is absolutely false that it's those people who are vaccinated that are dying more from COVID than unvaccinated. That is not the truth. Okay. You're at greater risk from dying, from becoming seriously ill, et cetera, if you do not have the vaccine. So please don't listen to that. That is a falsehood, and that's sort of being used as it's a lie, basically. Let's just be clear. Okay. It's a lie. And it's basically trying to convince people that being vaccinated, you're no better being vaccinated than unvaccinated. That is not the case. 11.3 times more likely to die from COVID if you are unvaccinated. Okay, so that's the first one that I wanted to sort of drop off. A little tidbit of information I just wanted to drop down. All right, so now let's go on to this concept of getting COVID. Okay. People are saying, well, if you're vaccinated, you can still get COVID. Well, duh. Right. Like that's not surprising in some ways, right? Because think about it this way. First of all, we never ever said that by getting the COVID vaccine, you would never get COVID. What we said is that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're less likely to become seriously ill, die from COVID, be in a hospital, be on a ventilator, et cetera. Think about other things that we have, other vaccines, right? We have the flu vaccine. We know, and I know you guys know, even with the flu vaccine, even though you get the flu vaccine, you can still get the flu, right? And we accept that as a reality. We know that that can just happen. We know that you're less likely to get it, right? And if you get it, you're less likely to be as severely ill with it. But no one ever said that you're not going to get the flu if you get the flu vaccine, right? So remember that we have these truths we hold with other things. And I don't know why we're not transmitting it here to COVID. So when people say, oh, well, vaccinated people are still getting COVID, well, duh. Yeah. It's not as likely. You're not going to get as sick, but it is possible to still get it. The other reason is because no vaccine is 100%, right? That's the reason why you can still get the flu, even if you get the flu shot. And same thing with other, vaccines and other modalities and other treatments and stuff. Nothing is 100%. So don't let that, when people are writing that in the comments, don't let that make you say, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should get this vaccine. I could still get COVID. Well, yeah, but your likelihood of getting it is less. And the risk of severe illness, if you should get it, is less. And that matters. Okay. Oops, dropped my pen. I came ready for y'all. All right, so let's move on to that. So that's one. We talked about, so just to clarify, we've already gone to the place of, oh well, if you're vaccinated, you can still get it. Okay, we just dealt with that. We also talked about those who get severely ill die from COVID. Okay, we talked about that. Unvaccinated people are more likely than vaccinated. Now let's talk about spreading it. This is one that is a little bit more, I don't want to say nebulous, but there has always been question, and we've always sort of been looking into how likely it is that somebody with the COVID vaccine, somebody who's vaccinated, how likely they are to spread it. For a little while, we didn't actually really know very well. Okay. So this is what we have known, that there have been some studies done. Some studies have suggested and shown that when you have the COVID vaccine, you are less likely to spread it. But there have been recently some studies that have suggested that actually the risk of spreading COVID could be the same if you're vaccinated as if you are unvaccinated. And I think that's where a lot of people are sort of picking up that soundbite, that piece of information, and they're using that as an excuse to say, see, even if you're vaccinated, you can still spread it as easily as an excuse. Well, let's talk about that point right there. First of all, okay, the studies vary depending on the number of people in the study, the variant, whether it's alpha variant, beta variant, delta variant, et cetera, that they were looking at, okay, and also the environment. Was very specific. I'm not going to say that those studies don't matter and that we need more information, but the truth is I think we're going to learn more as we move forward, okay? But this is what you have to keep in mind. Even in those studies that suggest that fully vaccinated people are just as likely to spread COVID as those who are unvaccinated. What we know is that if you are fully vaccinated, you are less likely to get COVID in the first place. And therefore, because you're less likely to get it, because you're vaccinated, you are then by default going to be less likely to spread it to other people. With me? That was tight, right? That was tight. And I'm serious. I'm not trying not to be funny, but that is tight though. You have to admit. Think about it like this, right? If you're less likely to get it, and you're not getting it, you're going to be less likely to spread it because you don't have it. You have to have COVID to be able to spread it. So those people who are vaccinated are less likely to get COVID in the first place because they are vaccinated. Yes, it can happen. We can get COVID. We just talked about that, but we are less likely to get it. But since we're less likely to get it, that also means we're less likely to spread it. The other things you should keep in mind, though, is that, hold on, I got my notes. Hold on. Hold on. The other thing we should keep in mind too is that in people who were vaccinated, in some of these studies that showed that we were able to transmit it as easily, vaccinated people had lower levels of virus. And in many of these studies, vaccinated people were likely to recover from COVID more quickly than people who were unvaccinated. Okay. Ooh, see all my notes. Look, see, this is, I don't know why I write like this. I have 100 pages in here. Yet I choose to write in these little chicken scratches all in one page. And that's why you see me doing this. So I'm sorry. But I hope this is making sense. And I want to go through this little line of notes that I have, which is really the meat and potatoes. We're going to go through this again. So, like, as a synopsis, don't be alarmed when people write in the comments or people tell you, oh, well, vaccinated people can still get COVID. Yeah, we know that. Why do we know that? Because nothing's 100% in this world, and neither are vaccines. And just like when you get the flu vaccine, you can get the flu. It is possible, though less likely, but you can get COVID even if you get the COVID vaccine, right? The other thing, though, is that remember, you're less likely to get COVID, as I just mentioned, if you are vaccinated, and thus less likely to spread it because you were less likely to get it. least likely to get it than those who are unvaccinated in the first place. Okay, keep that in mind. Remember, one of the most important things that these vaccines do, they actually do what we really hoped. I don't want to say what we really hope, right? One of the biggest things we wanted for these vaccines is they kept us from dying. That's one of the biggest things we wanted. We never said in the beginning that, oh, the COVID vaccine is going to keep you from getting it and the COVID vaccine is going to keep you from spreading it. What we said was we want to keep people alive. And the vaccines are actually doing that. Those who are vaccinated are less likely to become severely ill with COVID, be hospitalized, be on a ventilator if they get COVID. We also know that those who are unvaccinated are 10 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID than those who are vaccinated. And they are 11.3 times more likely to die from COVID than those who are fully vaccinated. Guys, that's huge. Okay. We also know that, some studies lately suggest that people that are vaccinated can spread COVID as maybe as in a similar way as those who are unvaccinated. But I argue that studies are still evolving and data is still evolving, and those studies are not entirely perfect. And some studies show that that's not the case, by the way. However, we know that vaccinated people tend to have lower viral loads, virus levels, and they tend to recover quicker. And once again, because vaccinated people are less likely to get COVID in the first place, I sound like a broken record, but I got to say this because it's super important. Because people with vaccines are less likely to get COVID in the first place, they are also less likely by default to transmit it. Guys, I hope this is really helpful because first of all, I want to know what you think for those of you who are on. And thank you guys, by the way, for joining me on Facebook. Hello, on YouTube. It's great to see you. Please write in the comments. Let me know if you've gotten the COVID vaccine. Let me know if you got your booster as well. We know that is really super important with all the variants that we have. Let me know if you've heard someone say to you, or you've heard in general, maybe you've read on the comments on my video where people are saying, oh, well, vaccinated people can still, The bottom line, though, is I want to know: are you seeing that? And I imagine you are. If you read any other comments, most of my COVID videos have people that are really anti-COVID vaccine, and they express that. So those of you who are reading, or rather watching this, I hope that this argument is helpful for you. I also want you to think about this. This is my other argument that I want to make to you guys. Okay. And maybe this is for those in particular who are really like, well, vaccinated people, so why should I bother getting it, right? Because that's the next step is, well, since vaccinated people can get COVID, spread COVID, blah, 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 blah from COVID, why should I get it? See, your silly vaccine makes no difference. And as I mentioned, it does matter because vaccinated people are less likely to get it, right? We're less likely to have we're more likely to recover more quickly. We have lower viral loads. We're less likely to be hospitalized and die, right? So there's all of that, which, by the way, is why you should get the vaccine. But I want you to think about it this way, okay? Think about it this way. Do we say, well, why should I wear my seatbelt? I can still die if I wear my seatbelt. Now, some people actually do say that. There are some people who don't wear their seatbelt. But wearing seatbelts are laws in many places. Okay? And do you say, well, why even bother wearing my seatbelt? I mean, I could still get in a car accident and still die if I was wearing my seatbelt. Well, yeah, you could, but you're less likely to, right? It's like the idea of strapping your kid into a car seat, right? You can say, well, why strap the baby in the car seat? I mean, we could still get into a car accident. The baby something bad could happen to the baby. I mean, I know that sounds like a really startling example, but I'm giving you that example to show just how little sense it makes when we apply that same logic to the COVID vaccine, right? To this part. You wouldn't say, well, why strap the baby into the car seat because they could still get, hurt if we got into an accident. What you do is you say, okay, well, car seats are not perfect. Seatbelts are not perfect, but they offer us protection that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And they offer us things that help keep us safer. And that's what the COVID vaccine does. It's not perfect. Nobody said it was, though. But it offers us things that helps keep us alive. It makes it less likely that we will end up in the hospital on a ventilator or die. It makes it less likely that we will get COVID in the first place. It makes it less likely that it makes our viral load, if we were to get COVID, lower, and helps us recover quicker. So when you hear people, and for those of you, and I'm sure that my trolls, I mean, I don't mean to call you guys trolls, but I mean, that's what a lot of people do is they They troll my videos. And look, I have always said, the more the merrier. And I know it's hard for those of you who are on the side of the vaccines, and I sometimes feel really bad, but I think it's important that, I might be the only person that someone hears say this type of thing. So, look, I want people to hear this argument just like they may hear the arguments on the other side. Just once again, think about all the things that we do in this life to take precaution. Even though it may not be fail safe, we still do it. If you work a construction job, right? You are very likely going to wear your personal protective equipment, your sound, your earplugs for the sound stuff. You're going to wear harnesses if you're up on ladders or if you're up on heights. You're going to wear, at least this is what I'm telling my patients to do, right? To wear the knee pads. If you do flooring work or something like that, you're on your knees. You're going to wear those. And this is the thing, that you still may have wear and tear on your joints and in different things over the years. This is just one example, but you're still going to wear those things to try to give you as much protection as possible, right? And that's what we do with anything in life. It's why we wear our seatbelts. It's why we put babies in car seats. It's why we get the vaccines that we do get. It's why we get the flu vaccine, even though we could actually still get the flu. I get it every year knowing I could still get the flu, but I know it's going to lower my chance of getting it. If I get it, it's going to be less likely. So this is the thing. Some of you are also saying, well, there's a chance of being damaged or being hurt by the shot. And that's why I feel the way I do, right? Some of you might say, well, look, I feel this way because Dr. Jen, you're saying, the seatbelt and this and that. A shot, the COVID vaccine could hurt you. It's not the same as a seatbelt. Well, the truth of the matter is that the COVID vaccine is not harmful. I've done many videos on this. And this is also another point of myth. They're not dangerous, right? We have many, 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 many vaccines that, for all of you who are telling me, well, COVID vaccines are dangerous, I would bet that you have gotten many, many vaccines already in your lifetime. You might be my age or around my age, and you had to have them to go to school, and you got them. You had to have them to play sports or to go to college or to do whatever. And what I'm saying is, I ask you to listen to the science about the vaccines and understand that, no, they're not harmful. They're not. And I've done videos on the the side effects that people report, and basically how VAERS reports do not establish causal link, and that anyone can write anyone with VAERS reports. And VAERS reports does not say that, someone dies after getting a COVID vaccine. You can't say that the COVID vaccine caused it. Be like if somebody passed away after they went to the grocery store, you wouldn't say that the grocery store caused it. And I know some of you are going to say, but that's not a vaccine. Well, no, but I stand behind it because these vaccines are very safe and effective, and the myths have been debunked over and over and over again. And for those of you that it's hard to imagine that they could be safe, I ask you to think about it this way. Because many of the people that argue with me about the safety of these vaccines are people that are either my generation or older or younger, but still in the realm where you had to get vaccines yourself to do what you do. And you got them. And you're just fine. And it's hard for me always to understand why all of a sudden now we're worried about the COVID vaccine when you've gotten lots of vaccines already and they've been safe and effective. And so anyway, this is not an argument, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But be careful what you watch. Be careful what you read. I want to know what you think, okay? And I didn't mean to go on a soapbox, but we just need to have a very serious talk about this, because we just, if we're going to call a spade, let's call a spade a spade. Anyway, I want to know what you think. I know you guys will tell me. Let me know in the comments. Facebook, by the way, I see you guys. Thank you for all of the stars you guys are sending. You guys are amazing. And on YouTube, I so appreciate the super chats and the super stickers. Remember, the COVID vaccine is basically like your seatbelt. Okay, it's not perfect and it's not foolproof, but it gives you a number of extra layers of protection and reassurance that you are less likely to get COVID, die from COVID, be hospitalized. And in this day and age, I think that's pretty amazing. And I recommend it. I highly recommend it. So, all right, keep the comments coming. Let me know if you got the vaccine. If you're getting the vaccine, I still have patients that maybe wanted to think about it, that wanted more information. They're just getting the vaccine now. I'm so proud of them. I don't care. Get the vaccine. Whenever you get it, get your booster. Let me know. Also, I have my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. That's on the pinned comment on Facebook. And then I'll put it in the description of this video on YouTube. Make sure you join. You can hear from other people that are getting the vaccine, from parents that are vaccinating their kids. It's a positive, supportive place so you guys can talk about what's going on. That's really the name of the game with all of this, is to give you support. And we just want to get through this pandemic, right? That's what we want to do. We want to get through it safely, intact, on the other side. That's the name of the game. And let's see, what else do I have? I know there's lots going on in the world right now. Just know that I send my prayers to all of you guys who might be in harm's way from natural disasters and all sorts of other stuff happening in this world. I want you guys to be safe. Bring me the questions you have. I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. Make sure you join my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. Oh, I have a free health newsletter, by the way. Go to my website, drjencaudle.com. You can sign up for my free health website. And let me know if any of these arguments were helpful. Let me know what other questions you have. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to convince you guys to get the vaccine. So anyway, guys, I love you as always. I care. You know that. And I'll be back tomorrow with more videos, guys. I love you. Take care. Bye. Bye, YouTube.